Hi everyone and welcome back to With Wednesdays, and I'm here with Lorraine Jardine, who runs Islay Dog Rescue, which is a shelter based in Scotland, specifically rescuing dogs in death row. Isn't that right, Lorraine?
That's correct, yeah. We've run the rescue for coming on 9-10 years now. And our heart is really with the pound dogs, where they're on death row, they've got maybe 7 days and then they're put to sleep. So they're specifically the dogs that we try to take.
And see, it's something that not a lot of people are aware of, like the likes of Dogs Trust and places like that. They've got like a kind of time scale on dogs, isn't it? So
I think the Dogs Trust, I'm not sure about their timescale. I know they do a great job, and and I stand by them for that. What's not clear with the likes of the Dogs Trust is that the dogs have to make a welfare score. So if the dog doesn't reach the welfare score, then unfortunately it is euthanised. And the welfare score can revolve around, well, obviously will revolve around behaviour as well. So even if you have a dog that bites when it's getting groomed, it's not making the welfare score.
well, in your kind of opinion then, do you think there's a lot of dogs that are euthanized basically down to ignorance then, that they don't know any better, that, just some basic kind of behaviour consultations might rectify these issues?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people just don't want the... Can you hear them yapping?
I'm just thankful it's not mine.
No, she's shocking. She's a little menace. I'm going to leave the room shortly. Yeah, there are a lot of dogs that they don't have the time or the patience, so it then accelerates the behaviour, and it gets to a stage where sometimes it's so difficult for them to go back that they don't do it, and the dog's put to sleep.
So with that in mind then, Lorraine, give us a little bit of background about your experience with these dogs particularly, obviously, because these are the ones that you're talking about here with behavioural issues. You'll probably get a lot of them through your doors. So what are the kind of biggest issues you face when you're taking on dogs from the pound?
No background. We don't have any background. So for the first week or two, they're decompressing while they're here. So we have to just watch and see how they settle. And they sometimes change dramatically. After that, they're then beginning to find their feet and find their position in the organisation. I'm not saying their position in the pack. That's not what I mean, but they know what dogs are happy beside, what dogs are not happy beside, what volunteers they can rip it out of, what volunteers they don't. Just like children. The dogs that come in that need groomed are the more difficult ones, because there's sometimes pain associated there as well. So they have a strange surrounding, different food, different environment. Everything is different, everything's strange, and they're sore. So that can make it really difficult for them.
Yeah, and that's a real issue, isn't it? When there's a lot of welfare cases where their coats are so compacted with mats, but you've not got that relationship established yet to then simply go and remove those mats. So it's trying to come up with some way of trying to resolve this issue. And in terms of obviously affordability as well, it's not always the case that you can go to the vets and sedate for a clip off, because it's quite an expensive process, isn't it? But it highlights the real need.
Yeah, it's not nice for the dogs either. I have a Bichon, actually Pixie, who was barking there, and I've had her for about 8 years. And she came to me from the pound down in Preston. And when she was only about 8-9 months old, and when she peed, nothing came out. It just soaked in to her mats. She was a dreadful state. So I had to take her to the vets, and she got knocked out. And the whole thing was so traumatic that honestly, she's only ever from then had the one groomer. And God bless her, she's needing a medal. She comes to the house. Now, Pixie is almost impossible to be home, but grooming is a massive issue. And although I've had her 7-8 years, it's still a massive issue. You can't clip her nails without her screaming and carrying on and upsetting all the dogs in the house, so there's a huge drama. The same with clipping. Over the COVID period, I had to bite the bullet and buy clippers and attempt it myself. And the poor wee soul, you know, I mean, she looks like a coconut, but it was so difficult because I didn't want to undo any of the work that my groomer had done.
Yeah.
Because she can do her, you know, she never looks great, but she's safe and she's not sore, you know, she's clipped, but yeah.
I think
And if you find people from groomer to groomer with these rescue dogs, they're already unsettled.
Aye. So you're kind of needing, so that's why it's crucial, and I'm glad you tapped into that. It's crucial for shelters to kind of work up relationships with kind of one groomer, and one ethically based groomer who understands and has an in-depth knowledge of canine behaviour and body language. Because I mean, typically speaking, for just your kind of standard dogs that have loving homes, you're looking at a period between 4 and 8 weeks for a regular groom. That's your kind of box standard groom. But for these cases, you're probably talking a lot more frequently to build up the resilience to the process. And it's something that, you know, I'm certainly trying to raise awareness of as well, because in the grooming industry, we're predominantly taught in college using owners, like dogs that have owners that have loving homes. So we're not getting a lot of experience in the kind of vast kind of umbrella of what canine behaviour is, all the different issues, the backgrounds, and you know, what have you. Shelters are an ideal kind of learning ground for us as well going forward. So what would you recommend when it comes to building kind of relationships with your local shelter? What are the kind of things that you would recommend in order to make that the case? How would a groomer approach a shelter?
There's a couple of difficulties, because we, as a shelter, we're also very aware that time is money for the groomer as well.
Yeah. And
for us, we're very lucky that we have our kennels on site. It's at my home, so you've seen the setup. We'll live here. We have a room, not a room, we have a separate building that's dedicated as a washroom. We've got a professional bath, we've got a blast dryer, we've got tables and things. So if somebody who knew what they were doing, as opposed to one of our regular volunteers, they're very well meaning, right, and fabulous people, knew what they were doing, knew how to stand the dog properly on the table and just give the dog a groom, 10, 15 minutes, off you go, you know, then work up to that kind of thing, work up to a bath, so that it's not all suddenly foisted on the dog. That would be invaluable, not just for the shelter, but for the dogs. It's really all about the dogs and their future experience once they leave here. They're not suddenly terrified. The reality of it is that the dogs smell when they're in kennels. That's the bottom line. You can't help that. With the best will in the world, they have that kennelly smell. And when they leave here, the first thing people want to do is bath their dogs. And it's the worst thing they could do. They're taking them into a new environment and terrorising them. So if we had a groomer that was coming along and was familiar with the dogs were familiar with them, then we could maybe say, do you know what, Stephanie, Ziggy's leaving on Thursday to a new home. Is there any way you could bath him, please, before he goes? So that he's going fresh and he's not being terrified when he goes to his new home. You know? And somebody who is holistically based and is interested in the behaviour of the dogs and isn't just, oh, come on, look at the time, I could have another clip in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what the gold.
See, what I'm thinking of, Lorraine, is the community that we're in at the moment, the one that I'm putting this recording on. The idea is to have a directory of holistic-based groomers all working together throughout, you know, the UK basically, and actually we've got members all over the world now, which is great. It's great. It's taken off quite well. Anyway, the whole idea is to have a directory of holistic-based groomers who we know, you know, are quite savvy to behaviour. They're learning. They're actively out there learning. So for the likes of you and other shelters, having that kind of in-house groomer there, working with the dogs, wherever the dog's rehomed to, hopefully using that directory, we'll be able to say, this is the groomer that we recommend going forward to continue on with that care plan throughout the rest of the dog's lives, you know.
And they use the same practices.
Exactly.
Yeah, fantastic.
Exactly. Isn't that not?
And perfect. And you know what I've said all along? That during these training courses, trainee groomers should be required. It should be part of the course to come and spend a couple of weeks at a shelter.
Oh, 100%.
Come and spend, that's part of your training course.
Yeah.
Come and do it. Come and see it, learn about the behaviour. Because so many people, and I've even had groomers say to me, I mean, that dog just bit me and I never even seen it coming. There are always signs. That's always there. You know.
I know.
So if they're not knowing what to look for and just being completely aware of not just the dog you're working on, but anything in the background that could alter that dog's concentration, behaviour, that can happen as well. You know, and that's what they could maybe pick up from working in a shelter, doing like a week or 2 weeks in a shelter.
And that's the thing that you were kind of talking about, time is money at the end of the day. But see, to be honest, you can't put a price on learning. And that's the real thing. That's the real value in it for groomers as well. We are getting to really be around, you know, the reality of what it is, you know, dogs that have behavioural issues that we're going to come across on a daily basis. We'll know how to be prepared for that going forward because we'll have that experience behind us. And see, to be honest, I don't think for the majority of groomers it would be a case of a money thing. It would be, this is a real value and you're doing your bit to the community as well, aren't you? You're giving back. So it's that feel good, isn't it? We do it for the love of dogs, but you know, so there's tit for tat there. And in terms of funding as well, we can do things like your fundraiser events, you know, to raise money specifically for grooming, you know, if you're needing equipment and if you're needing tools to obviously supply. Because I think the major concern with groomers would be their wear and tear of their tools and their equipment.
Absolutely, yeah, because that's their bread and butter, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's always an angle you can work towards. And obviously with fundraising events, it's raising the awareness of, one, your business, your shelter and what you're working for, and also the groomer's business. So it's it's, you know, a win-win situation there. We had a wee rant about experience, didn't we, the last time we met? And it's one of those things, we mean with all respect there is, you know, out there, if you're not getting to see different sides of a dog's personalities in different situations, then how much experience do you really have? So it's such a passionate kind of topic for me. I absolutely find it fascinating.
And it may be that dogs who are at the groomers, right? If you know, Joanna Bloggs, the groomer, works all day grooming dogs every day, does a great job, goes home at night, back the next day. If that's her or his or her job, and that's what they do, then they're maybe seeing all dogs at stage 3 level of arousal and above. So they're then presuming, if you can follow my drift here, stage 3 is stage 1.
Right,
or stage 2. So they're not realising that the dog is already in a slightly aroused state of mind. So will travel quicker up the ladder than if they were at level 0 or level 1.
Yeah.
So because it's like when the dog goes into the vet, you know, it's already up. It's already, the level of arousal is already higher.
Yeah.
So it might be nicer to see them.
So would you recommend then, Lorraine, in terms of time scales and things, would you recommend initially then a groomer to come along and just observe the dogs initially for a couple of days, just to see and get a feel for what, you know, what they're all about and their kind of their individual traits and whatnot before they even attempt to start the grooming?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's loads they could do. What I've done with kids who have been doing their Duke Edinburgh Award or things like that, or if they've been wanting to go to, I've had a couple that wanted to go to vet school, and I'm very well aware that you don't get a lot of training on dog behaviour in vet school, yet there's every chance you're going to be working on thousands of dogs and you're going to get bitten, right? So what I'll say to them is look at the behaviour when they're being fed. How has their body changed? How have their eyes changed? Have their ears changed position? What about the tail? Look at them when you're holding the lead in the, when they know they're going out. Look when you're putting them back in. Watch the body behaviour. Look at them when you're taking the dog next door out. Watch all the time. But again, you need somebody next to them. Give me a kiss, Mum.
No, she's.
You need somebody next to them to be explaining this all the time, and then asking them. Maybe that's the teacher. I used to be a teacher. Maybe that's the teacher of me. I'll ask questions later. Tell me what you're seeing. What do you see now?
Yeah.
Why are you thinking that?
Yeah.
Why do you think that dog's uncomfortable? What you seeing? When I was a teacher, I used to teach the kids how to keep safe round about dogs.
Which is another thing that's lacking, isn't it? I mean, right, I tend to go to the extremes, right? But I do think part of dog ownership, an element of it should be licensed, to be honest. I do think it should.
Absolutely.
If you're not prepared to have a dog and know of the responsibilities, then you shouldn't have a dog. But also, there should be some sort of basic behaviour course that every dog owner must have behind them, just to understand themselves what's not acceptable. How many photos do you see with children sitting on top of the dog lying on the floor, and the parents put it up and went, oh, look how cute this is, and you think that dog's going to get put to sleep for something that's not his fault, and that's the brutality of it. It's a case of raising awareness, isn't it? So in terms of the benefits then of kind of having a groomer in-house, what would you say are the kind of main benefits of that then for both, obviously, the dog and the groomer?
Well, the groomer's gaining lots of experience in working in a different area, working with a variety of different dogs, not just dogs with coats that need clipped or detangled. Sometimes a dog with a smooth coat might just love a bath and a pamper, and it's not everybody that has a smooth-coated dog that would think, I'm going to send my dog for a pamper. But the dog is not going to dislike it any more than any other dog. They might love it more than another dog because it's just so nice. So those dogs are getting the same. And the groomer's getting a chance to work with dogs that's not needing as much work, right? There's that as well. There's the feel-good factor for the groomer and the feel-good factor for the dog. The dogs are going to love it, right? Also, you're building up a network of people. If you're going to be a groomer and start your own business, every single person that comes to that kennel, is going to see the washroom with your picture and name on it. Exactly. And, we rehome dogs all over the country. We have dogs in Shetland and in Cornwall. We're very, very careful how it's done, very careful. But lots of dogs are in the locality. Lots of them are in Ayrshire. And we do have people coming from all over, to be fair, but lots are in Ayrshire. And there's a captive audience. There was a vet practice started a few years ago, started in Ayr. It was Vets for Pets, next to Pets at Home. And we were one of their first customers, and we took a lot of custom there. They got loads and loads. I can't tell you how many customers they gained from us. But at one point they said that we were better than any advertising that they'd ever done. The three things that people ask me is, what does the dog eat? Right? They always want to know what vet do you use? And if the dog needs a groomer, what groomer do you use? Yeah. That's the three things they want to know. Because they want to keep it the same. They want to keep it the same.
Well, exactly.
So, that's wise for the groomer. It's fantastic. For us as a shelter, it means our washrooms being used. It means our dogs are having some special time, not just walking. They're being treated really nicely, and they're getting used to grooming being part of daily life. It's not a big thing that suddenly they're in a new home and they're going to go to the groomers. It's just routine. So if they're getting used to it here, and you know what? Maybe it's an opportunity for, if there's any small teething problems, that they can be ironed out here before they go on. And that means that when, right, Spook, when we rehome a dog, that if you're going to be the groomer, we could say it didn't really like getting his nails done, or he got a wee bit upset when you went to his back end, doesn't like his tail being touched. Da, da, da. That's all information that's being passed on.
Exactly.
So it's a more. Oh, and mine are all going to bark to the same now to hear yours.
I've muted it so that you can't hear them.
That's all right. They're fine now.
Oh, honestly, no. Do you know what?
Mine are watching the chickens at the moment.
Oh God, mine couldn't. I think my wee dogs would chase the chickens. But you've hit the nail on the head there. But do you know something? No, you've gave us a lot of food for thought there, Lorraine, because it is. I mean, it's such an amazing opportunity. I think it's right in front of us. I think a lot of groomers don't really tend to think about shelters, and it's just raising that awareness that, gosh, there's a whole bunch of dogs there, you know, offering you invaluable experience. You can do a really good thing. It's of mutual benefit here. Your, you know, adoptability is going to be higher because the dogs will look better. Socializing, you know, handling and socializing is going to be a lot better. You know, it's, and like you say, it's that vital information that you can then pass on to prevent a potential bite. For example, the dog doesn't like its nail getting cut, you know, or whatever. So, I mean, I definitely think it's a fascinating topic and one that every groomer should be definitely looking into. And, you know, the likes of fundraisers and events are a great way to kind of raise awareness there as well. I'm just looking through the questions that I had, because I had a list of questions for you.
My battery was running out, so I'm plugged in now. It's all good.
Right. What's your thoughts on groomers coming over and teaching your volunteers?
I have two thoughts on that. The first of all is that would be great if they taught them very basic things.
Yeah.
Very basic, and taught them the right way. However, sometimes a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. And I wouldn't like somebody to think, oh, well, I can just groom dogs now.
Exactly.
I get so many people who approach me and say, in fact, I had somebody this week, right? And the message was exactly, I've lost my job due to COVID-19, and I'm thinking, you know, I love dogs. I've always loved dogs. So I'm thinking I might start up my business dog walking. Okay. Yeah. But I'm not very confident around dogs. So I wonder if I could come and volunteer for a wee while first, just till I feel a bit better, and then I'll start my business.
See, now this is where it gets dangerous, isn't it? Then you're basically starting with the dogs that really require that knowledgeable, experienced hands.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if my volunteers who wanted to learn were taught maybe basic grooming.
Yeah.
And even trimming nails, maybe, if you felt they were good enough to do that. Yeah. Clipping and things like that, no.
I would never advise that anyway.
Yeah.
I would never advise that. All I was thinking was, in terms of, obviously time is money for groomers, that they could maybe dedicate like a day a month or whatever, but in between that, the dogs could get well, you kind of kept maintained through bathing and things like that. Just
bath and groomed. Yeah, absolutely.
That's fine. Oh God, no. Oh, could you imagine more coconuts walking about?
Exactly. Mine are bad enough.
Oh my God. So Lorraine, in terms of your experience with the shelter, what's the kind of most valuable thing that you've learned in your experience with working with difficult dogs? It's a tough one, isn't it?
That is a tough one. That's a tough one. Is don't listen to what people tell you. Look at the dog.
Right.
Look at the dog. This week is a perfect example. We adopted a dog out 8 weeks ago to a lady, and it was a Bichon cross Shih Tzu. So always fine. After the first month, lovely dog, best dog I've ever had, fantastic. Then it rained. And he bit her because she tried to dry him.
Right.
I said, okay, so what happened then? Tell me what happened. Well, there was no warning at all. Okay. No warning, ever. I said, what happened? Well, I was drying and he went all stiff. Right.
Uh-huh.
And he gave me this eye. Said, and then he put his ears back and his tail was all straight. Right. And then he just bit me right out of the blue for no reason. I said, well, so he didn't want to be dried then.
Uh-huh.
Well, it has to be dried. I said, no, it doesn't really. You know, there are ways around that. So that's fine. So then a few days later, he bit me again. What's happened this time? So I was trying to put a coat on him. I said, right. So he didn't like the towel. And now you're trying to put a coat on him, right? Yeah. So I was putting a coat on him and he went all stiff. Right. And his ears went back. Right, okay. And he did all the same things again. So I wagged my finger at him and he bit my finger. Is it any wonder I take a drink? Right. I said, well, do you know what he was telling you there? What he was saying there was, I don't want to wear a coat and I don't want you drying me.
Uh-huh.
Well, what if he gets wet? I said, well, then he gets wet. And when you bring him home, you put him in a crate with some towels and he'll roll about there and he'll dry himself off. He'll be fine. No, I want a dog that will wear a coat. So you see, that's the difficulty you're up against.
Yeah, yeah.
And people don't want to listen to you. There's loads of dogs that I won't advertise. You know, at the moment, I have a pug and a French bulldog, right? Standing up my kennels. And I won't advertise them because I would get everybody and their granny's dog on the phone telling all sorts of lies about how suitable they are to get the dog. So the hardest thing is to make sure you get the right home for the dog. Yeah. And understand that the same as when the dog comes here, it decompresses for a while. It's the same process once it goes into a home. Mm-hmm. That happens as well. And all my volunteers, I keep nagging them to go and training. I provide training for them. In fact, on the 15th, a week on Saturday, a week today, they have training with a girl that does heel work to music, actually. So it's kind of trick training, but it's all about engaging with the dog, how to get the dog to engage with you. I sent them all in canine first aid courses. I send them to all sorts of behaviour type training. Whenever I can get it, I send them on it, and we'll pay for it if we can. Although a lot of them pay for it themselves, which is great. And a lot of people do the training for nothing, which is also superb. Because I want to upskill them as much as possible. I was digressing from your question, which was what was the hardest thing? Yeah, people are the hardest thing.
It is. It's an issue with us as well. Trying to educate the groomers is a completely different ball game, especially when you're working with your difficult cases. So you've got that kind of welfare versus vanity issue, isn't
absolutely.
It? But again, the only thing that we can think about or try and kind of harness in on is if we kind of broaden our network of people that are like-minded, then there's more of us kind of fighting for the right thing. So in terms of you and I collaborating with a behaviourist who says the same thing and blah, 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 the future owners are going to then have that consistent advice and they're going to have to follow it because they're not going to have a dog otherwise. So but no, do you know, it's been great talking to you, Lorraine. I think you've answered every question that I've got so far. If I think anything else, I'll be on the messenger chain. When I put up this post, can you send us links underneath it to your shelter?
I will do.
Yeah, so that people can have a wee nosy, and if you wish to donate as well, then that would be great. And
if you could like our Facebook page, we're getting there. we're getting our website revamped. We're going to have a wee shop in it, so it's quite exciting.
Lovely.
So the website's terribly out of date, but Leona, that used to do it, had a baby in May, so I suppose we better let her know. Yeah, so we're hopefully getting a new website. So the Facebook's more up to date at the moment.
Right.
But yeah, I'll send you links. So
right. Because the nice thing is, Lorraine, that you're not just taking dogs from Scotland. That's the thing that we need to remember. You're taking them from all over the UK, and do you take them from abroad as well?
We do. We take them from wherever they need to come from. And people often say to me, "Why are you taking these dogs from abroad? There's not enough in the UK." Well, do you know what? At the moment, the answer is no. There isn't. A lot of pounds are empty. For the last couple of years, the pounds have been emptying out, and that's really good. That's really good news. But we have some Romanian dogs in at the minute. We've got some coming from Macedonia. We've had some from Portugal. The Romanian ones that are coming from kill shelters, and the situations there are horrific. So, do you know what? I'm take some dogs. It's no problem. A dog's a dog. And do you know what people ask? It's really funny thing. Oh, this is a Romanian dog, right?
I know what's coming.
Don't you?
Is it the language?
Do they understand? Do they understand the language? So, well, actually, the dog speaks dog. So, do you understand that? Because that's more important, you know. It's no funny.
But to be fair, Lorraine, is that not a valid point? Actually, it's more kind of tone, isn't it, and hand gestures.
Hand gestures, you know.
I mean, it must be really hard to manage so many dogs. I mean,
it's very difficult. But you know, some of the ones here, like Pixie, the Bichon cross I was telling you about, that I had to take her to the vet to get her knocked out, to get her clipped off to start with. Nobody in the world was going to put up with that dog. Nobody would put up with her. She just pees and poos whenever she likes. Can't go a walk, cannot walk past the end of the lane, freaks out completely. She'll go to the arena, she'll run around, she'll go to the dog run, she likes being in the house, she'll go in the front garden, or she used to before I stopped her going in there because of the chickens. She's great, but psychotic, absolutely psychotic. And a couple of my other dogs, you know, like 4 of them were born here.
Aye.
And they're 10 and a half now, so they need to be here forever. And I so hoped that Phantom and Spook would be my last 2 young dogs ever.
Thank you so much, Lorraine, for your time, and I'll get that posted up to you, give you a wee heads up when it is up, so that you could put your links and that down below for us. But in the meantime, I'll be in touch with you to arrange some times to come up and get some grooming on in the shelter. All right.
Super. Thanks very much.
Take care. See you later.
Bye.